Hi, back here on the C10. Basically, I'm not exactly sure I left off. I think back here putting this this roof skin in, and we kind of noticed that it actually goes uphill and kind of makes up like this little step in the roof. So, haven't quite figured that out. I think we might cut 2 more roofs. We're going to need 3 altogether to tie in this because it starts to dive here. So we're going to do like 16 or 18 inches here and then put it. At least I think that might work. I don't know. I haven't made that far. Right now what I'm looking at is building that support here. This one kind of got jacked up, but what we're going to do is take the rear skin off. And since the roof sits so close to the skin, I can't really use a round bar, but I can use this flat strap here. And then we can arc this edge here to make up basically we're going to make this right here go up and give the outer roof skin a little bit of arc. I'm not so worried about the back one because we have the step here inside our where that step drops down. I cut it like a couple inches, so that break is going to help hold the center of the back of the roof. But unfortunately, the front section of the roof, the back of the front section, is still floppy. And you can kind of see that it sits flat. So you can see it kind of goes across there flat. So I'm going to try to build, I guess, like a buck or a skeleton across there to lay that panel on to hold it up to where we think that roof's going to be. And then I could take our other piece of sheet metal that's sitting right back there that I went and picked up yesterday, and we'll cut our section out from like this edge here. I made those 2 patch panels, so hopefully I could do this roof in 5 pieces. At least that's kind of what I'm hoping. Let's see if I can't make that like little arc thing and see if we can't just get some forward progress on this roof. Alright, so I found this next door over there, piece of like 1/2 inch by 3/16. So I'm thinking that I know my roof's really straight this way, but it has a slight arc this way. So I'm hoping that I can bend that center section 2 dimension from side to side. And what I'm thinking of here is that you can tell it's not real arced here in the middle. This is our inner panel. I think it's got to come down just a smidge in the front, but it's more or less sitting and holding this panel up. When I pulled this panel out, there was like a piece of, I don't know, looked like cardboard or something. I don't know, some kind of material in there, probably keep the roof skin from rattling against the headliner. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a center section here, measure out maybe like 12 inches. And do 6, kind of break this into increments, and then when I mark here, I'll know that this is my center mark, and that's my center mark. So each increment should line up with itself each time that I come back here and set this back up here and try to see how my shape is. So that's kind of the plan. I think I'm going to leave it long here and then come back and trim it rather than try to start from that end and then figure out how long it needs to be on that side. I think that's going to be a little bit easier of a plan. So it's kind of what I got going. I'm going to do this real quick and see if it works, and I'll let you guys know how it turns out. Looks like that is probably going to work okay. Actually, I made it to the rear of the panel, the back section for one, with this step like we were talking about earlier. This one probably this would hold this flat or more to the shape that it needs to be. That's kind of dove in there, but this is the piece I made. Just kind of lined it up there. I'm not super worried about. Probably need to bend it a little bit more right there to bring this in, but I've just been bringing it little by little. It's kind of. I made my mark so when I And back on here I can kind of like align my marks back up. That side does need to be, looks like I need to bend it right here, which would bring that down and this a little bit. And over here, first of all, get it sitting on the panel. This is going to go underneath the panel, but you kind of get an idea what I'm talking about here. So somewhere like that. Got our marks lined up. This side right here is like dialed. I'm probably going to scoot this in and then push this back in before I tack it here. And what that'll do is it'll basically take both sides, pinch them in, which should bring this up and give the center of this a little more support and a little more arc. So I'm going to kind of tweak on that side just a little bit. That would be kind of a good update. Pull the headliner out probably, and then set this up there. And if I like that and I think it's strong enough, I will take that same shape, take it over to the bench, and make that same arc out of this wider stuff, which would give us a little bit wider footprint. I could probably make 2 or maybe just use all 3 in there. I'm not sure, but definitely 2, one at the front and back seam that's going to go across the top of the roof. So I'll keep trucking away on it. This is a quick update and see if we can't make some more progress. Alright, got that welded in there, just tacked it there, measured side to side so I was pushing up through the center best we can here, and basically that actually works really good. What I had was this sitting on there like so, and then I was watching this go up and down pretty easily, which is nice. If you can push on this, this is 3/16, so it really should dissipate the weight instead of just pushing it in the center. It should really help this entire panel come up. Just don't know where to stop it. Maybe on there somewhere. So it kind of has a little bit of an arc. Where I set this is kind of up and down here. I'm going to I'll probably do the same thing here. I'll probably do the same thing in the back. But I think what I'm going to do now is cut a piece of sheet metal and set it up here and kind of get an idea of what exactly we all have going on. Of course, I didn't bring a pen. I'd welded that front brace in, and now I've got these other 2 I went ahead and made, and then bent another piece of flat strap to hold that arc of the roof in. And what's kind of cool about these, if I need to adjust this, one's left and one's right hand thread. So basically it'll shorten or lengthen this rod here, which will push up on each one of those crossbars. Now, because when I was putting that roof skin on there, it was really sagging. So this way I could keep some arc in my panel forward to back. Yeah, frontwards to back is a straight plane, and then side to side it rolls. So I'm hoping, we're up here, so obviously I'm going to have a little bit of a gap, but all in all, same thing here, I'm up, because this piece here is laying on top of that, so I'll have a little bit of a gap up there. But all in all, that thing is staying, go to the other side, it's staying pretty dang flat. That's what I think I want. And I've got it all kind of locked in with these Clecos. Just this panel holding it into the gutter, pinching this down, and then this holding all 3 pieces. Got that sitting, let's say we're 20 gauge sheet metal above this, so I'm going to have a little bit of a gap. It might come up when I hammer and dolly this. I start welding and hammer and dollying this. I'm hoping that maybe I can kind of work it a little bit. When I cut this portion, it did kind of distort. You can kind of see it down there. But front to back, we're pretty good. That's actually kind of puckered up a little bit on me, but that's kind of what I've got going. I'm hoping once I weld all those seams together, and then I'll take these adjustment rods out and leave just the crossbows, just to add a little more strength. Basically, we'll probably stuff something in there, some peel and seal or something along those lines to keep the metal from rattling. But that's kind of the only thing I can do to get to that roof somewhat to the shape it needs to be before I start welding. I'm going to use a wire feed on that because I'm just not a good TIG welder, especially that much welding. But I'm going to use an 023 wire. I know I can come back and plenish it if I weld a big long straight, but I think I'm just more comfortable welding it in little pieces and then cooling it down. But I will like cut it out, lock it all in before I do any kind of great big welding. That I haven't decided on, but something to kind of think about. But I got that pretty darn close where I think I'm going to need it, and I will probably think about this a little bit longer before I actually start doing any major cutting and welding. But I feel that I'm on the right track. So, well, I don't know. Wish me luck.